Oh, look, got a little brotherly love happening over here.
I try to ignore it. It's fondling me. They did it on Game of Thrones, so why can't we?
5-year time jump. I'm so excited about this because I love a good time jump in any series, but I feel like for you all, it's really going to make a major impact in the storyline. What can you share?
Well, there's going to be some actor changes. Certainly Hope is going to be
Talking.
and having ideas and thoughts and whatnot. I actually haven't met the actor playing Hope yet, the young lady. Apparently she's phenomenal. I think, I think now that Elijah's been in this slumber for this long, I think it's going to be interesting to see what evolves between he and Haley. And I also think that this very sacrificial act of Klaus is going to mean that a shift in the dynamic, the status quo, because he's actually done something kind of wonderful for the family, enabling them to sort of be able to live. So
kind of un-Klaus-like, in a way, right?
Come around here so we can face the... There we go. Let's do that.
So this better? This 5 years later Klaus, what's he going to be like?
Well, I think initially pretty withdrawn. His walls are up and his shields are up. He's a captive of Marcel, so he's kind of playing his cards close to his chest, and I think he's waiting for an opportunity to strike, to wreak havoc and vengeance upon all of those who wronged him, particularly Marcel. I don't know that that's particularly un-Klaus-like, except perhaps he's not grandstanding his power for once. He's a little quieter, perhaps. I'll be interested to see how his relationship with his daughter pans out after not seeing her for 5 years. That's one thing that I'm excited to play with the time jump. Yeah.
Have you met the actress that's going to be playing your daughter yet?
No, I've not.
That's going to be so cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm planning to work with her, using a variety of techniques, probably manipulation, intimidation, like kind of, shut up, roll camera, that kind of thing.
It worked, I'm scared.
Right. You just kind of pushing her, kind of puppeteering and yet mentoring at the same time. So,
great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure she is too.
Very excited about this time jump.
Yeah.
Are you excited? I'm assuming you are.
I'm excited to see what the new iPhone will look like 5 years from now.
Yeah, is that going to play a role in the show at all?
It should, but I think we just use iPhone 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where are we going to see Marcel 5 years in the future? Like, what can you share?
He'll be in New Orleans. Last time we saw him, he was outside of New Orleans, hanging out. He had his loft, but now he's got a penthouse.
Ooh,
he's got good real estate. Yeah. He's more confident, sexier. He's top of the food chain. So
kind of like back to where we saw him when we first met him. He was top of the food chain, man about the town. Is it going to be like a similar dynamic between him and the other characters as to what we saw season 1, maybe?
Well, when you first saw him, it was earlier on, and so it was. Now he's more grounded in the sense that it's rooted in something else as well. Again, being top of the food chain, so nothing really sways him. I think before he was more, he had a lot of pride, that he was on top, a bit showy, and now he doesn't have to be so showy. So it'd be a slightly different Marcel, but still back on top and having fun.
Yeah, like a quiet confidence, maybe. Maybe? No?
Maybe. I think so. A quiet confidence and a monster stirring in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping you'll see a connection with Hope as a child now. Freya's been through what she's going to be going through in her childhood, and so hopefully she can teach her what not to do and what to do and protect her. Freya, I think at the end of the season you could see she really will do anything to protect her family, even if that's letting go of someone that she cares about or doing something she doesn't want to do. Anyone who comes against her family is going to see a fight. And I think that brings out a slight malicious side of her. I do see her as a female Klaus. Klaus kind of softened up and Freya's kind of like a hard ass now. So anyone who comes against her, you'll see that, and then hopefully, possibly a love interest of some sort. Yeah.
Are you like in the casting process right now?
Right?
Who is she gonna date?
Yes. Who's it gonna be? It's got to be someone great.
I think Joseph put it well in panel today when he said when something like this happens, it's almost like it can be a standalone season. You don't
Totally.
really have to have had any experience with the show, The Vampire Diaries. You don't have to have any knowledge about the previous seasons. You can come into this one green, or at least the way I've read it so far, and that's exciting. I think it's exciting as an actor where you get to show a character evolve. And it's exciting just as a fan of television where you can get a new audience come in and appreciate your show who might not have watched it before, you know?
Well, you know, if you look at some of the great monster movies from the 1920s and 30s, you know, vampires would live, they would be defeated, they would slumber for a while, and then they would return, they would reemerge. And so we wanted to do kind of a reemergence of the Michelsons. They've been off the table for a very long time. Elijah, Cole, Rebecca, Freya have been sleeping peacefully, and now they're awoken. You know, at some point early on in our season, there will be repercussions and after effects of what they've endured. But I think one of their primary concerns is, where's Klaus? What do we do? How do we get our brother, the same brother who sacrificed himself for us? And what kind of Klaus will they find? It's a guy who has been damaged and suffering and tormented and a prisoner alone for a very long time. And so who is he going to be, and what is that going to look like? And importantly, with a 5-year time jump, you now have a Hope Michelson who is a little child, you know, a person. And we really want to... She talks. She has a great relationship with her mom, but she's very curious about her aunts and uncles, and she really is curious and wants to know her dad. And that's a big part of what moves our season forward.
So we got 2 really shocking deaths at the end of season 3. Personally, I was shocked. Cammy and Davina. I'm sure you were shocked as yourself, but how are we going to kind of see that play out in season 4? Will we see any like flashbacks or any memories of them or anything like that?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, possibly. I think probably not too many. I think the important thing for us is to keep pushing forward, and rather than, you know, that's why characters die at the end of seasons, like Dahlia, you know, and then the Trinity last season, because you don't want to rehash old villains.
Right.
As they may not have done on Vampire Diaries with a couple of bloody old hats called the originals.
Disagree.
Well, yeah, there you go. No, I think it's important for us to keep telling fresh stories, and those characters certainly were a strong influence. Well, certainly one of them was a strong influence on Klaus, and the other on Marcel. So we'll see the result of that, but perhaps not the long-winded flashbacks involving them.
Or how's your character still going to be reeling from that even 5 years
I
later?
wish my character had been reeling more, to be honest with you. Like, he had a lot to do with Davina in the beginning of the show. And, you know, there was that whole time they spent in the attic together when he was sort of, they assumed this sort of mentor-disciple relationship where they were talking about the activities that she was going to perform for him on behalf of the family, and they negotiated this whole thing. And then when she died, there was just like no exchange. To be honest, I was a little disappointed that they didn't do anything. And he also had that enormous thing with Cammy when they went out into the wild, and he had this whole relationship in the sense that she in essence became his therapist. She died, nothing. I think that I feel like it was an oversight of the show, to be honest.
2 of your girls were killed off the show. How are you
sad.
handling it?
I thought I was handling it fine until I got back to Atlanta and I went to text them and say, hey, should we meet for tacos? And they weren't there.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
So this is hard for Phoebe, the human being, but how is this going to be for Haley on the show?
Pick up with Haley, it's been 5 years.
Right.
So she's had kind of 5 years to deal with the loss of her friend and of Davina and of her husband. You know, so I think she still thinks about them, but I don't think it's as heavy on her anymore. But yeah, you know, I think because they're not there, I think she'll probably try and lean on Freya a little bit just to have a bit of a female on her side.
There'd be a little bit closer. There may be some appearances from some of those characters. I don't know if I'm allowed to actually say that or not.
Well, maybe is a good
Gonna
word.
get flagged yet, maybe. So for the fans, there'll be some closure as well. And then for the characters, I think, you know, they always carry them with them. You know, the people that they've lost. So.
Well, Marcel especially had such close relationships with both of them. I mean, I guess everyone is close on the show, the characters, but Marcel specifically.
Yeah, given that he actually slept with Cammy.
Well, I mean, there you go, you said it.
It's about as close as you can possibly be. inside of a. Never.
There you go. There you go. Hey, you're just stating the obvious. I'm so excited that you're around because like Haley needs a girl. So are we gonna see you guys like team up and be in a lot of scenes together?
I think you're gonna see us connect for sure, whether that's agreeing or disagreeing. We're gonna have to work together. But yeah, it was sad to let them go. But I think you're gonna see a more now tight knit family dynamic, really focusing on the family, which is gonna be good.
I was reading the script, and I think I was on the page for a few times, and yeah, whoa! It was those two deaths were big shocks for me. But as Mike said in our panel at Comic-Con today, I think those sorts of things are essential for telling a story.
Right.
And this is no disrespect to either of those actors. I think Leah Pipes is amazing actor. Danielle is amazing actor. And it's just, I think it provides a great deal of, I think it speaks to their contribution of the show that they're used as sort of this pivot point for the rest of the drama of that season and the drama still in season 4.
And who knows, maybe they'll come back.
That's the other thing. You never know with the supernatural universe. You absolutely never know. I mean, this show has a history of bringing people back, and I think it would be exciting for whether it's a flashback, dream sequence, or just resurrection. I have no idea. I don't even know if it's going to happen, but if it does happen, I'm sure our fans will appreciate it. And yeah, it would be exciting to see.
Are we going to be seeing any closure as far as those characters, as far as like Davina and Cammy are concerned? Are we gonna get a glimpse at them in any capacity this season?
A lot of people have asked me that today, and I will just say, I don't think that the show can just move on without acknowledging how important both of those characters were to everything that has happened to our characters on the show that it remain. Klaus is still going to be impacted by everything that Cammy tried to say to him and teach him. And I think you can imagine a world where he has a memory of her, a flashback of her, or a dream of her. Maybe there's even a world where we do more than that. I think there's also a question to be asked when it comes to Davina, which is, does a New Orleans witch ever truly die?
Thank you. That's what I've been asking.
We saw in season 1, Papa Tunde came back. Bastiana came back, Genevieve came back, Sabine came back. All of these witches.
You're getting me really excited right now.
Yeah, all these witches were brought back from the dead because in New Orleans, the kind of boundary between life and death is a little bit different. Even though the connection to the ancestral world was severed at the end of episode 322, nothing is ever truly destroyed. And so I think you can imagine there may be another glimpse of Davina's fate.
I feel like we're going to see so many changes, especially being a mother and all of the things that she's gone through.
Yeah.
And now having a kid that's like talking and a full human being.
Yes.
What's that going to be like?
It's exciting. We just cast the little girl who's playing Hope, and she's so adorable. It's fun, I'm excited to really kind of find a relationship with her. I think that there's going to be a lot of Klaus in this little girl, which I think is going to be really interesting.
Like what side of Klaus?
Like maybe the not so good side of Klaus. I think she has a really dark side, this little girl, and she's very powerful. Maybe a little precocious even.
Okay.
There's definitely layers to this character, which is why it's so cool that she's actually a character now and not just a baby.
So how much of Klaus, like the Klaus that we know, kind of, dare I say, evil at times Klaus, are we going to see in Hope?
I think you have to honor the fact that she is a product of not only her environment, but her genetics.
Right, of course.
But I think actually Klaus was a very peaceful and sweet person early in his life. And I think he became embittered and dangerous, not only by becoming a vampire and having the hybrid element, but because of the abuse he endured at the hands of his parents. And so what I'm interested in exploring is a Hope Michelson and her effects on a Klaus who is well aware that he doesn't want to be the type of father that he himself had. But Hope is definitely a Michelson, and we've seen it from Freya, we've seen it from Elijah, we've seen it from Cole, Rebecca, all of them. They're capable of very, very deadly behavior when need be. The thing I will say is that when we meet Hope in season 4, despite all that she's endured, she's had a really good, solid relationship with her mom. and she's not an abused child. She's a happy child, and she loves very much her mom, and her mom very much loves her. And so I'm excited to see that kind of empowerment, not only because of what Haley did for her child, but a healthy Michelson. Maybe the first one we've met, a healthy, happy Michelson, and how she's going to want to impact her family.
We should do it. It's our. Okay, are you ready? Okay, I've been working out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Oh. Wow, you've been bulking season. I can feel it. The muscles are for real.
For more exclusives with the cast of the originals, click to the left to see my chat with Joseph Morgan, or click to the right to find out what Daniel Gillies had to say about season 4.